So I was watching this video about the iconic TSM Fortnite house, and honestly, it's super interesting, and I give some insight about why it fell apart and what went down.
On the 20th of February 2018, approximately 5 months after the release of Fortnite Battle Royale, the TSM YouTube channel would upload a video to the platform titled Introducing TSM Fortnite. The video introduced 4 professional Fortnite players who had been chosen to represent the highly respected esports organization known as Team Solo Mid, or TSM for short. The first player on the team was known as I Am the Myth, who boasted rank number 1 in the solos playlist and was often argued to be the best player in the world alongside Ninja.
I'd say at your peak you were the number 2 to Ninja.
Given his skill level and high status in the Fortnite scene, he was given the task of finding 3 other players for the pro team and would initially choose a player by the name of Hamlins, who at the time was ranked number 3 in the solos playlist, had a win rate of almost 50% and a kill death ratio of almost 14. Next, Myth would choose a player by the name of Daquan, who shone as an outstanding solo v squad player and had placed first in many of the Season 1 Invitational Pro matches.
Let's go, baby! Let's go!
Finally, Myth would choose a player by the name of Camille's, who had been a part of a team who held the world record for the most kills in a single squad game.
Let's go! 50! Let's go, man!
Comments on the introductory video such as "This team is insane," "These 4 rolling together is a legitimate death squad," and "Can't wait to see these guys compete" displayed the high expectations held for what seemed like Fortnite's most unbreakable professional team. However, to say that these expectations weren't lived up to would be a monumental understatement. In fact, TSM's original Fortnite pro team can only be described as a catastrophic failure on so many different levels. Within months, players were being kicked for a lack of performance, the team was being trolled to unimaginable heights over on Reddit, there were instances where half the team decided not to show up to pro events, and when they did, you never saw a TSM player placing anywhere near the top of the leaderboard. Some couldn't handle the pressure, others fell out of the spotlight, and eventually in February 2021,
Bro, these videos are always so harsh. Like, come on, man, pull it down a bit.
TSM would announce that they would drop the entire Fortnite team and leave the competitive scene.
The problem was that it was packaged as a Fortnite esport team. It should have just been a content house. Like, that should have been the initial like packaging of the group. It's like, this is a Fortnite TSM just squad. This is like the squad, and they make content and they stream and they play at a high level. Packaging it as like a pro esport team before pro events even started, it's like asking for disaster, because no one knew how pro events were going to really play out.
And reality, there's only one question left to ask. What could have possibly gone wrong? Well, let's start by looking at this comment on the introductory video, which stated, "Imagine these 4 in a squad. That would be insane." Well, the audience would be treated to such a viewing experience when, shortly after the announcement of the team, Myth would upload their first squad video together on his personal channel under the title Introducing TSM Fortnite, Fortnite BR Full Match. The video featured the 4 previously mentioned players, being Myth, Hamlin's, Daquan, and Camille's, with the most notable part of this nonchalant game being that morale between the 4 players was incredibly high. They joked and laughed about having joined TSM.
Sunday, you joined TSM?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
Yeah.
How'd you do that?
Casual.
Displayed their ability to work extremely well as a team, and ultimately ended the video with their first win together. These guys were obviously going to have no problem annihilating in a standard lobby as a full squad. The game was still full of new players, and as previously mentioned, these guys were basically the best of the best, each of which having played since day 1. The issue was that in the beginning, Fortnite hadn't begun to host any professional tournaments, and there was therefore no way to put them up against other professional players. There was Fortnite Friday hosted by Keemstar, which many of these new TSM members would perform extremely well in. However, there weren't any actual official Fortnite tournaments where pros could directly play against other pro players. That would be until approximately 2 months after the formation of the TSM team, when Ninja would announce that he'd be hosting the first ever professional Fortnite event in Las Vegas on the 21st of April 2018.
There's an event that's being held on April 21st. Daddy's gonna be there, live, streaming at this event.
At this point in time, there was a consistent argument about whether it was Myth
Bro, peak Fortnite Ninja was just different.
or Ninja who held the crown of Fortnite's best player.
No, he wants to kill me.
Wait, why?
Because we are the rivalry of the community.
So it only made sense that Myth would be invited to the event, where he would attempt to establish TSM's reputation in one of the first professional Fortnite tournaments.
Myth made one mistake at this event. Not him underperforming or anything like that. When they interviewed him, he said he was going to win 2 out of the 3 games at least. 2 out of the 3? Come on, man. You went to a pub match and there's a good chance you're not winning 2 out of 3. My man was ultra confident.
Considering I've never been to a gaming event or a competitive gaming
He
event
was also very young, so.
ever, like where I'm actually playing in front of people or it's being like broadcasted live.
While Myth's spirits were high as he entered the doors of the esports arena,
Our primary thing that we're going to be doing is taking out Ninja, okay? Keep it on the low, all right? But that's the plan.
he wasn't scheduled to play until the 7th, 8th, and 9th game of the event, so he sat there watching Ninja take out numerous other players while the pressure continued to mount.
It's time to get up close and personal. Up shotgun out. Ninja looking for the fight. Whips the first shot. Whips the second. The challenge comes in. Can Ninja win his first
Dang. Ninja was making it to the end, though.
game? The Rockets are out. Ninja! Let's go, baby!
It's hard to tell exactly what Myth had been feeling as he sat down to play the first of his 3 games, but whether it was excitement, adrenaline, or complete and utter anxiety, it would unfortunately lead Myth to perform far below the crowd's expectations. In the first game, while engaged in a build battle,
This moment, man. The most insane glitch.
Myth would jump as another player placed a ramp above him, causing him to fall to his death, resulting in a placement of 13th out of 100 players. In the second game, he'd be killed in an off-spawn 1v1 assault rifle fight, placing him at 48th out of 100 players.
And Myth goes down.
And in the last game, there's no footage or explanation for what happened to Myth. However, the commentators mention his death with 52 players remaining,
I just received word that Myth is dead. Oh my goodness, folks.
Another early exit.
showing that he had likely died off spawn within only minutes of landing. The placement of 13th, 48th, and 52nd was somewhat embarrassing for a guy who was widely argued to be one of the best players in the game, and all in all, it showed that while Myth was an incredibly good entertainer and public match player, perhaps himself and therefore possibly even the TSM team selected by him were going to need far more practice on the professional side of things. In order to get this practice, approximately 1 month after the Vegas
Bro said it like it wasn't in game.
Ninja event, the team would announce that they would all be moving to LA to live in a streamer house together.
And I'm ready to go to that house and I'm super excited. Literally. I'm like ready to see it.
I kind of wish I had a streamer house moment. Like where I lived in a streamer house, everyone was streaming, you know, go hit the gym with everyone in the house, get some content in. Can't do that anymore.
We're gonna create a brotherhood and win them tourneys, baby. That's what we do.
In the house, they would
That's the thing. Like it was always about winning tournaments, but you had like Daquan and Hamlins, who were 2 of the funniest guys in the Fortnite scene. You had Myth, who was all around a top player and a good streamer. That was the big mistake. I feel like that could be the reason like that the boys burnt out.
begin to improve as a squad, uploading Fortnite videos, random challenges, and even post.
See, this is the funny they should have like focused on heavily.
The team seemingly had this strong, unbreakable bond that hadn't been seen with any other Fortnite team.
I met Daquan yesterday. Then me and Myth just met. And Myth just looked at the house. It's amazing. Yeah.
And it was no wonder that people had high expectations for the group.
This house is going to be used to make the dank Fortnite content and dominate the comp scene, baby.
Dude, again, the comp scene, the tournaments, man.
However, while you might expect that moving in together would be the point at which things started to take off, the opposite actually happened, and it'd be at this point, before the team had really even gotten into the pro scene, that signs began to show up here and there that their team was already beginning to crumble. Myth, Hamlins, and Daquan played regularly together after moving into the TSM house, getting ready for the pro scene, which was still heating up, as would be stated by the TSM founder and owner, Andy Din.
You know, I'm so hyped for the esports scene for Fortnite, but it's honestly not going to come out for like another year. Yeah. So it's just like, just chill for now.
However, Camille's, the final player in the squad, perhaps took the chill message a little too seriously, as it would become apparent that he hadn't been practicing, and his skill level as a Fortnite player was dragging significantly behind the rest of the group. Camille's moved into the TSM house in late May 2018, approximately 1 week after the other 3 members.
And we're waiting for the final member who saved the best for last. Put it in a separate video. Mills.
But less than 2 months later, in early July 2018, videos would pop up on YouTube like this one titled Daquan and Hamlin's.
There was so much pressure on Myth and Hamlins and Daquan and Camille's to perform in the Friday Fortnites and the skirmishes. Like there was so much just non-stop pressure. And at the end of the day, bro, like when you're a content creator, you're shooting yourself in the foot by focusing on competitive. Like that's always the case.
React to awful play by Camille's in tournament. Is he getting kicked from TSM, which gained over 500,000 views.
Build up, brother. Build up, brother. Oh my God.
No.
One thing was blatantly obvious. While Camille's was incredibly skilled in Season 1 and 2 when he was first recruited for TSM, his skill had dropped off dramatically by Season 3 and 4 when the pro scene was starting to get serious. The previously mentioned video displaying the awful play by Camille's would receive comments such as, "No offense, but Camille's is the weakest player in TSM and should be replaced with someone like Crafty or High Distortion." Being said this, time to bench Camille's for High Distortion, and he shouldn't be in TSM. While these were just the opinions of the audience, TSM actually seemed to have the same idea, as only 13 days later, the TSM Twitter page would tweet, "TSM Fortnite roster changes, TSM Camille's has been benched. We are looking for a more permanent fourth."
Oh, Calvin, bro. I forgot Calvin played a lot of Fortnite. I even played with him. He's gone MIA.
Be doing tryouts for the position. Only 56 days after moving into the TSM house, Camille's would be removed from the pro team and was forced to move back home.
So as you guys heard, I officially got put on the sub team.
Bro, they forced him to make this a video segment. I would have been like, "Where's my flight? Where's my ticket out of here, bro? Get the fuck out of my face with that camera. Get the fuck out of here."
There's a lot of people's sides of it, of me not working hard enough, or me not.
Nah. This kind of messed up that they had him sit here and talk about this like this.
Putting enough hours in, which essentially I guess is true, but it's more to it than that.
The other players explained that they like Camille's as a person. However, at the end of the day, they tried to help him to improve, but he simply couldn't keep up with the other players on the TSM Pro team.
He just didn't play enough. His work ethic isn't really there. That's all it really is.
We wanted him to improve so bad, and I told him, I was like, "Bro, I need you to improve." We gave him like a long time to, he start, like taking it more seriously.
This seemed to put a huge dent in the spirit and structure of the team, considering they no longer had a permanent fourth player to practice with.
What's the point of even having a fourth player? There was no squad tournaments. Like at this point, it was Friday Fortnite and the skirmishes, and there was no squad events. So like the idea, the fixation on squads was a prediction that the Fortnite tournaments was going to be about squads, and it never was.
Relying for upcoming tournaments, and as a result, the goals held by the remaining 3 players seemed to misalign. Myth continued to grind scrims and practice against other pro players. However, Daquan and Hamlins took a different approach by focusing on improving their stream and public match skills. Now, this is understandable, as it's probably what would have been bringing in the most money for them at the time. However, as Fortnite was getting more serious about pro events, the decision to focus on content creation began to damage their reputation as professional players, especially after one specific event in September of 2018. It was the largest professional event to date, with Fortnite offering their biggest prize pool ever of $1.5 million to be split between the 100 finalists. It was week 8 of the summer skirmish, held at PAX West, hosted over a period of 4 days. In order to qualify and make it into the finals, players would have to place in the top 33 out of 99 total competitors in their qualifying matches. The first player up was Myth, who despite having put in the hours to practice against other pro players, would perform poorly in the skirmish, being unable to achieve a single point and therefore failing to qualify for the finals or even in the top 50.
Earlier, Myth's elimination earlier on King, but Myth goes down to Jake. That is the end of the event for TSM's Myth.
However, despite Myth's poor performance, it was still far better than the other 2 remaining members, Daquan and Hamlins, who chose not to attend the event at all. In the days following, Reddit would begin to clown on TSM in posts such as this one reading, "I am disappointed in the TSM Fortnite team."
Man, you gotta have a lot of time on your hands to type up a thesis statement about your disappointment in the TSM Fortnite team, bro.
The biggest
You're a loser.
event in competitive Fortnite history happened this weekend. Only one member of the TSM team, Myth, even bothered to attend and compete in the event. Myth has proven that he really cares about competing, streaming less and grinding scrims more to try and improve. The same cannot be said for the other 2 main members of TSM, Daquan and Hamlins. Both of them opted to stay home and stream instead of attending and competing in the event. Daquan has said that this was a business decision for him. I wouldn't blame him for wanting to take advantage of the higher stream numbers when everyone else is at PAX, but he is a member of the competitive TSM.
What are you, the competitive police? You're speaking on behalf of TSM? You're part of their legal team?
Fortnite team. In my opinion, Daquan and Hamlin should either fully commit to being competitive Fortnite players, or they should just become content creators with TSM.
This is the problem, is like, who cares what title they have? It's not like any esport team was limited to how many competitive players they signed. TSM ended up signing like a dozen more competitive players while keeping Daquan and Hamlin's, just because they initially marketed them as competitive and it didn't work out. It's not like they're taking someone else's spot. They're on the team not because they were supposed to be competitive. It's because they pull viewer numbers. That's what really matters to an esport org.
The post will be met with comments such as, I'm going to be honest here, apart from Myth, I think everyone is half-arsing. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if Myth actually leaves for another team where he can find teammates that are as driven as he is.
It's so crazy looking back at this. The idea that everyone kind of tried to make Fortnite into like more traditional esports, where it was like there was going to be teams and like the teams were going to like go out to events together. And at the end of the day, that didn't even happen. Even these days, you got guys on TSM, FaZe, all teaming up mixed match. Like, I don't think there's a single like pro trio where every team member is signed to the same org.
Myth failing to place in the top 10 even once, we can start to get a pretty good idea as to why TSM as a professional Fortnite team was somewhat laughable.
Also, when you think about content, you can't just think about live stream viewership. You got to think about content across the board. You got to think about sponsorships, YouTube engagement, and videos. You take a lot of people, and if they stop streaming, they're done. To really be like an established content creator, you got to be attacking it from the stream, from the YouTube, from the sponsorships, from the networking. Like, it's a whole process. That way you solidify yourself a little bit more, and if you take a break from streaming, or if you take a break from this or that, or if you want to focus on this or that, like, you have that like foundation.
Myth would then state that due to Daquan and Hamlin's lack of drive to improve as professional players, resentment started to build within the group.
I was really driven to play competitively, and they really weren't. Like, it came to a point where we had to like sit down and have a talk, and I kind of like resented them for that a little bit.
Yeah. Myth would have discussed the extent of the beef. However, thankfully it seemed to be at a low enough level for them to continue making videos in the house together. But with differing goals and time being against you when it comes to maintaining friendships, the group seemed to slowly drift every single month, and with such came a further decline in their performance.
Sadly, game one didn't go too well, but yeah.
When looking through old placings for Daquan, Hamlin's, and Myth, besides—
Bro, the fact that they had him sit down in front of the camera and talk about their like losses and stuff, I would have been so annoyed, man.
From Hamlin's one duo first place, the tournament placings were generally unimpressive compared to, say, FaZe or Liquid. TSM had been signing some other Fortnite players outside of the official pro team, such as Cowboy and Zexro, which became somewhat comical after a Reddit user noticed Zexro has almost earned more than their entire pro roster combined. However, at this point in time, their tournament earnings and professional performance was of little concern, as their external battles would slowly become internal battles. On the 14th of December 2019, Hamlin's would post a tweet stating, "Y'all ever just start crying but don't know why? Current mood, love you guys, and good night / good."
Dude, I know the pressure of it all, and like I feel like maybe Hamlin's and Daquan felt like they were failures because they didn't live up to the expectations of competitive like viewership, but they were the most popular, funniest guys on the platform. It definitely got to them. That's, I mean, obviously a lot more went on, and a lot more that we won't ever really know.
While Daquan will post a tweet longer in the same month stating, "I went through so much BS this year and I learned so much from it all, but..."
Exactly, bro. See, that's the thing. I know this competitive stuff and this pressure and the Reddit threads and the constant like annoyingness from viewers had to have gotten to them a little bit. Like, just that mixed with other pressures, whatever was going on personally, like that had to have just been too much. I feel like TSM put him in a weird spot.
I'm disappointed in myself in terms of how much I streamed. I hate how much I haven't posted to YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, etc. With Camille's completely removed from the team, Hamlin's and Daquan fighting their own demons, and Miss popularity following a downward trend, they would announce that the TSM house would be coming to an end in early 2020, with each creator moving into their own place.
I bought a house, and I bought my car.
Bro, I was low-key excited for Daquan's return. Like, after he left the NRG Thum house, which, by the way, the NRG Thum house, man, wow, what the f was that? How did they not check the internet? There was no internet in the house. There was no fiber. Ain't no way an esport org pulls that. Let me tell you, Oni Studios is going to show you how it's done. The first thing we check is the internet.
You know what I'm saying? So we gonna be moving into a new place this week, actually. We gonna have a lot of streams, bro.
However, despite Daquan saying that they would be streaming loads after moving out, if you've seen our videos on the disappearance of Daquan and Hamlin's, you'll know that only 1 week after moving out of the TSM house, they would go completely silent on all social media, at which point the pressure would go back over to the only remaining active member, TSM Myth.
Hey guys, I'm not Channel 7 effing news, and I ain't got the daily scoop on Daquan or Hamlin's, so stop asking me.
Is that Jake Sucky talking right now?
If Day or Hams wanted y'all to know about how they were doing, they would tell you guys. That's the facts, so leave it be.
Daquan and Hamlins would stay silent for 18 months, returning in August 2021.
We back and we taking over. Yes, sir.
However, they would simultaneously announce that they wouldn't be returning to TSM and instead joining the Fortnite group NRG. While Myth was extremely excited to witness their return,
I really just want to say how happy I am that they like still got that energy, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
it didn't actually matter whether or not they went back to TSM, it was already too late. Because midway through their hiatus, on the 2nd of February 2021, TSM would announce that the organization was departing from competitive Fortnite altogether, somewhat of a theatrical ending to what started as the most hopeful competitive Fortnite group in the game's history.
We're cool, but we're not like really close friends and we don't really talk consistently anymore, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is.
It's a sad video, man. A lot of expectations from every direction, you know? Another part of it is that Myth blew up really fast in Fortnite. Hamlin's Daquan, same thing. Like, they went from being like unsigned, few hundred viewer streams to signed to TSM, instantly thousands of viewers, millions of fans. Like, it's so fast. Blowing up like that, like, there's so many aspects to it that could really mess you up. For me personally, like, I had a fast blow up in the Fortnite scene. It wasn't as fast as guys like Myth and Ninja. It was fast, but it was still gradual. Like, I could still like take it in one day at a time, you know, really process the growth. It wasn't like an overnight sensation type thing. I mean, up until Fortnite, I was already a full-time streamer and content creator. Like, I was already full-time for 2.5, almost 3 years before Fortnite. So that extra experience and time, like, it really like matures you to understand how to deal with that. Even before Fortnite, I had streams where I had thousands of viewers watching. I think before Fortnite, like, my peak stream was like 2,800, 2,900, and I had a lot of streams where I was in the 1 to 2,000, you know, during the For Honor tournaments, during Elder Scrolls Online, like expansions and updates. Like, I had that experience, so it was like, it was a little different.